topics related to agroecology, how to improve the rural livelihoods, and also how to uh, bring the rural youth to a mainstream of entrepreneurship. And this session, KSS Knowledge Spectrum Series 7, today in that series, we are coming up with one interesting topic, that is optimizing rice production. Because we all know rice is consuming highest water use. Around for 1 kg of rice, we are almost investing 4,000 to 5,000 liters of water. And the methane emission is 5.5% global greenhouse gas emission from rice fields. So, but we can't completely come out of with the rice. We can't completely come out of our. We can't completely change our diet pattern. We can't push farmers to change their cropping pattern. But what we can do, we can optimize the water use efficiency, and we can suggest a different alternative, maybe direct seeded rice, which consumes minimal water, which gives maximum production. But the transition isn't easy. It has its own challenges. One, weed management is severe problem. We can incur up to 90% of yield loss just because of weeds. And nematode problem, pest and disease management is a problem. So to address all these things, we have a speaker who is expert in who is having 20 years of experience in working across the farmers, working towards agroecology. He helped many farmers to make a transition from conventional to organic and non-chemical method of cultivation. And in this 20 years of journey, he could reach 1 lakh plus farmers. He impacted in various, making their production efficient and improve their livelihoods. And through his innovative solution, through FPOs and various projects related to seed, agroecology, and all other areas of agriculture. Before that, he was in agriculture, working in agriculture department, but he could not fit there. Then he decided there is something else where he can impact the farmers, lakhs of farmers. Then he joined hands with CSA, Center for Sustainable Agriculture, to improve the livelihoods of farmer, uh, to improve their economy, to make their lives better by day. So let's welcome Dr. Rajshekar to know more about DFSR, direct seeded rice. What is the opportunity, and what are the challenges that we come across while implementing, and how can we take it to the national level, and how can we optimize the rice production in India and also throughout the world. And without further delay, let's welcome Dr. Rajshekar. Dr. Rajshekar, over to
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Thank you, Santosh. Thank you for wonderful introduction, and thank you, Vinyasa. Uh, I think we have a 21 participants, and hope to rest of them join. And since we almost 317, so I would like to start immediately. So in addition to me, there are two speakers. One is joining from field, so he will show his demo, his form, and another colleague from another expert from Reddys Foundation. So with this, I am Rajshekar. So I have been with this organization for last 20 years. So my area of interest is sustainable production practices, and so I'm working in mostly AP, Telangana, and Maharashtra. So apart from that, I also had an opportunity to work with Northeast and other states in the India. So I think coming to paddy, so all of you know, and because uh, though it's not quite much introduction, but it's source of energy for more than half of the world. So half of the world depending on the paddy, and is a rice. And the other hand, there is a issues with the production system. As Santosh told, there is a climatic issues. You can see the consequences of climatic change. Apart from that, it's a labor intensive because it's required right from nursery bed to harvesting, except harvesting is very well mechanized, but in most of them, they still it's a manual where women play important role. Then the important thing is water intensive. It's a limited natural resource. So to address the issues like labor, energy, and water. So this is the good alternative uh, uh, method, the agronomic practice to existing irrigated paddy. Uh, so before I start uh, the technical presentation, I think Santosh will be presenting. No, you'll sharing the.
Yes, sir. I will be sharing. Just give me an hour, then I need to
Yeah.
start.
So a lot of national and international institutions, so they are promoting this practice, like international rice research institutions. They are working across the South Asia, and the national level ICR institute like Indian Institute of Rice Research, and there are NGOs. So several of them, they are really putting their effort to promote the direct seeded rice. So I will be sharing my experience. So mostly my presentation based on my learning, and in fact our learning for last 1 year. So I know I request Santosh to start share the presentation. Hope I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah. Yeah. So can you go to next slides? Uh, it's agronomical practices. So most of you might be aware that paddy rice is the not water loving plant, but it's can cultivate under puddling condition and water loving condition. And so for that, uh, under rain-fed condition, you can cultivate paddy. Uh, so here, so I prefer to use the word the rice rather than paddy. So paddy is the puddled condition, and by using machines like seed drill, and apart from that, some of the farmers, they are now sowing manually behind the bullock drawn implements, and there is a drills, seed drills, can manage by single person. So there are several methods available for sowing the uh, seed. So here, like conventional method, here we need not to know. Uh, I mean, wait till the nursery raise for around 1 month. So you can directly use the dry seed for sowing. Uh, Here, like except the low-lying areas, like if you say your area is prone to floods, or you cannot control the water, except that area. Uh, and the second important thing is the situation, like problematic like soils, especially saline soils. So in rest of the area, like the the areas with normal rainfall, moderate rainfalls around 800 to 1000 mm, and less water area with less water availability, and red soils, light soils mostly. So this method of we can adopt. You can see in the photograph. This is the recent photograph. So we have demonstrated in Jangam. You can see the soil type and the drilling machine, tractor drawn implement. Yeah. Next, please. And so whenever we start any new method, comparatively new method, it's the farmer point of view, they always ask for the comparison. What are the advantages and disadvantages? So this slide particularly help us to convince the farmers, because farmers they have several issues, because at present in you look at the AP and Telangana, there's a delay in monsoon, so a delay in onset of monsoons. So still only 11% of area have been covered under cultivation, and apart from that, there are several issues. So we have to convince really, and for that we need to simplify it. And here, if you compare the direct seeded rice versus conventional irrigated rice, so here we can use machines, and it's a very less water intensive compared to uh, uh, conventional paddy cultivation. And so I was reading though in several articles, and the labor requirement is really very less, and only required uh, for weeding. Here we can use machines for drilling the seed, then can use the harvest during the harvest also. The only thing is weeding. Sometimes you may need to engage the labor, and machines can use for harvesting. And the important thing is biotic stress. Under conventional paddy, there are a complex of pest and disease infestation. You can see they have a sucking pest, say various sucking pests. Um, they suck the sap and infest the crop. And there is a borers like stem borer, and it's very the losses are very high, and there are several diseases. They infest the crop at various stages, various part of the crop, and it's leading to losses. So the pest infestation is very less, though there are some pests, but compared to conventional paddy, the pest infestation is very less. And green uh, house gases, of course, it's very less, and yield is, I can say, in DSR comparatively little less, but still it's a there's a scope and potential to increase the yield. So overall, if you look at the advantages versus, I mean, if you compare the DSR versus conventional paddy cultivation, so we have a several advantages um, over the conventional paddy. So that's what, as organizations, we are promoting, and we would like to go in large area. Next, please. Uh, Coming to crop stages, so it can broadly, uh, if you look at the paddy life cycle, before the seedling, it's the land preparation. After the once you uh, sown, then we start with the vegetative phase, and vegetative phase, then the reproductive and ripening stages. So the each stages in the DR is there are stages, and as per the stage, we have to we have to take certain measures like water management, weed management, pest management, and soil fertility management. So in subsequent slides, so I will give the detailed package of practices starting from land preparation to harvesting. Yeah. Next, please. Santosh. Could you hear me, Santosh? Yeah, so unlike the conventional paddy, the selection of land is very important. And as I told, we cannot grow go for the DSR under problematic soils in low-lying area because you cannot really control the water. But as you seeing in the picture, the upland areas, the light soils. So these are the suitable soils, and we have to start with the primary tillage with animal power or a tractor using the implements like we have a rotavator. So rotavator is now very popular implement. Most of the farms using it's available everywhere, and the bullet on plow followed by harrowing. So once you plow, then we have to go for harrowing to break the soil load. So the fine, I mean, if you have a clouds, no, you cannot really do proper sowing. So we have to uh, uh, prepare the land nicely. Then after that, you can go for sowing. But during the land preparation or before sowing, if you have any rain and moisture in the soil, so you cannot go for uh, sowing. It's practically not possible because again you cannot run the seed drill in the moist condition. And uh, before, I mean, if, mostly the in here um, uh, in southern Telangana, the paddy mostly grown in Kharif season. This is the rainy season. Usually, rainy season starts in June second to third week. So before that, uh, if you go for summer plowing, so plowing the land during the summer, so we can take the advantage of high temperatures and whatever the crop pest residues, insect disease residues or weeds is, I mean, in the soil, they exposed to the hot sun and they will be destroyed. So the deep summer plowing is one of the very important practices to start with for any crop cultivation. It's applicable to DSR too. So it's better to avoid block cotton soils because of the waterlogging conditions. But coarse light soils like coarse sandy soils are suitable for this DSR. And before sowing, as a part of the soil fertility management, so application of farmyard manure, so around 4 tons per acre is a general recommendation. So this is about land preparation. And then Santosh, next please. And seed is no another important factor of it contribute to production and productivity. So as you know, we have a several seed varieties. There are some hybrids also available in the market, but most of them OP varieties. Um, Public sector is playing important role in providing the seed. And apart from that, so we have a several traditional cultivars. There is a black rice, there's a red rice, etc., etc. So scented rice. So we have a lot of options coming in case of the seed. So you can choose the seed as per your preference. So it's not that this is suitable for particular variety. So though there are research is going on, but you can cultivate any type of variety, either traditional variety or improved variety hybrids under DSR. But only thing is you have to take care if you are cultivating traditional varieties. So you should, before going for sowing, you ensure the quality of seed. So it's better to test the germination and presence of any pest infestation. So in general, compared to conventional paddy, it's required 10 to 15 kgs per acre. It's almost half of the requirement compared to conventional paddy. Seed treatment is again another important activity you have to do, and either you can use there are a bio preparations, homemade bio preparation like beej amrut. Beej amrut you can prepare locally by using powdered urine hing, or you can also, apart from that, you can use bio uh, biofungicides, biopesticides. So uh, trichoderma is another option. So we have to, I mean, better to treat the seed with trichoderma because in the dry DSR, nematode is one of the problems, biotic problems, and uh, the nematode can be managed by treating the seed with trichoderma. It's a bio fungicides, and spacing it's can use around 1 feet between the rows. So if you have any local implement based on your implement, you can adjust the spacing between the row, because here we are not recommending any herbicides, and it's if you have a bullock drawn implement or hand drawn implement, if based on the width of the implement, it's better to adjust uh, uh, the spacing between rows. But the plant to plant spacing is anyhow, since the small seed we cannot really control it. It's I'm not particular about, so though I mean recommend some spacing, but it's practical, it's not possible at the farm level. Sowing can be done with a drill or and then the most important thing is the depth of the sowing. Uh, so if whichever implement you use for the sowing, if the depth exceed 5 feet, so uh, the seed will germinate, but no, the germination percentage will be affect, and it will take time to emerge the seedlings. So if the depth is more than 10 centimeters, the germination will be there, but you cannot see the seedlings. This will be within the soils, and that way it's a you cannot get good seedlings, and so the depth of sowing is very important. So one should consider while sowing under DSR. Yeah. Next, please. And these are the some implements you can see. The left side is the, you can operate manually. This, in fact, this is the implement using by one of the farmers, Mr. Raja from Jangaon. And seed drill, you can see the distance between the row is around 1 feet, and you can accommodate at a time around nine rows. So apart from that, dibbling can be done in hilly areas where you cannot carry any machine. So you don't have any options, only thing. So you have to do it, dibbling, uh, so uh, and then broadcasting also the is one of the practices of sowing, but no, it's not recommendable, because if you go for broadcasting within DSR also, the seed rate will be high, and another important problem with broadcasting is the weed management will be the problem. So here the broadcasting is not preferable, but it's unavoidable. So this also the project is this practice also existing, and some of the project farmers are know they're uh, practicing the broadcasting method of sowing. Yeah, next please. And uh, coming to next important activities is the soil fertility management. So any crop the applying nutrient is essential for managing the soil fertility to get the good yield. So we have to start with farmyard manure, and in some areas, you can also go for tank silt application. So tank silt application is it's common in southern Telangana, especially in Telangana here. So they during the summer they go for desilting, and based on the quality, if the catchment area is not falls under a problematic soil, so uh, the desilted material, the tank silt they apply to the uh, crop and during the summer. So that way, it's a rich source of nutrients, and most of the farmers, especially the farmers with the light soils, so they're preferring uh, the tank silt application. And farmyard manure, of course, now availability is the issue, but still it's a preferable practice, and some of them they procure from the purchase and from goshalas, etc. Then using, but it's one of the very important activities to start with DSR. And biofertilizers like phosphorus solubilizing bacteria, because a lot of phosphorus is available in the soil, which is the unavailable form. To make it unavailable phosphorus into available form. So this phosphorus solubilizing bacteria, it's available in commercial liquid or powder form. It's can apply in the field or can use for the seed treatment. And another important thing is the VWAM. It's a vascular mycorrhiza. It's another fungal organism. Basically, if you do seed treatment or you apply this WAM mixing with farmyard manure, so it enhances root growth, because in the dry areas, if there is a not sufficient moisture, so root growth is important. So if you up, treat the seed with WAM or apply, it enhances the root growth. That way, in that way, it's help to establish the seedlings. Like Agitobacter. So you can use all the PSB, WAM, and Agitobacter. So for seed treatment or soil application. So these biofertilizers can mix with farmyard manure and apply. The manures preparations based on the local available resources such as G-worm, root, panchagava, etc. So it's very popular in organic farming, and most of the farmers are there preparing. If you required the preparation methods, I will share after the uh, this presentation. So these are the easily prepared at the village level, the cost effective. So only is the laborious you have to have patience, but this is the effective. And if you apply either the land soil application or spray at the interval of 20 to 25 days, so it's you need not to go for any synthetic fertilizers. And in addition to that, there are reports saying that intercrop with short duration legumes can be taken in between the rows and incorporate in, so that way we can also enhance the soil fertility and smoothen, manage the weeds. Use crop residues as a mulch, and foliar application, uh, foliar application of nano urea. So here I'm using the word nano urea, though it's a synthetic fertilizer, but it's a new product, and it does not have the impact on environment and soil. So compared to the conventional method of urea, the available urea, it's a 46% nitrogen. With you can manage with foliar application 1 or 2 liters. So it's a cost effective, and it's showing good results. So this is the you can keep one of the options using the nano urea, and nano DAP also available, but it's up to you. If you want to, otherwise you can manage the soil fertility by using the materials like Jeevamrut, Panchagavya, etc., and biofertilizers. Yeah. Next, please. And coming to irrigation, here can use based on the since it's the rainfed area. If you receive sufficient rainfalls, you need not to really go for the irrigation. You can see the present standing graph, and this is really doing well. And so far, farmers have not given any irrigation. But during the critical stages like initial seedling stage, reproductive stage, so we have to maintain the moisture to get the good yield. So you have your options. You can, if you have a sufficient water, you can go for flood irrigation or furrow irrigation, and you can also use sprinklers. You can use the drip. So drip is the most effective, and most of the farmers are using in the DSR. Yeah, next please. And the most challenging aspect in the DSR is the uh, weeds. So if you classify the weeds broadly, there are two types of weeds you can see. One is the broad-leafed leaves, they call dicotyledons, and monocotyledons leaves, like the you can see in the picture. So compared to dicotyledon weeds, the managing the monocotyledons is very, challenging task. And in most of the paddy ecosystem, you can see, especially wet paddy system, you can see the monocotyledons than dicotyledon weeds. Here, under puddled condition, water conditions, managing the weeds is somewhat easier than DSR. But under DSR conditions, if you want to adopt the DSR, so we have to take the precautions from the beginning. So as I told earlier, deep summer plowing is one of the very, very important activity. So it also uh, expose the weed residues or weed seeds uh, in the soil, and that way it can expose to sun and they destroy due to the high sunlight. In addition to that, uh, uh, you can use the weed should not attend to the reproductive or flowering stage. If you manage the weed or control the weed before it attains the flowering stage, so then there will be no more seeds, and then you can gradually reduce the infestation in future too. So whenever you see any weed, if it attains to the flowering stage, and your problem intensity will increase. So it's better to manage or control at the vegetative stage. And there are cultural methods like in some of the areas, before sowing, they irrigate the plant and allow the weeds to germinate. Then they go for the tillage, so that uh, that way also you can minimize the weed infestation. Uh, Here there is a scope to use weedicides, but here I'm not mentioning weedicides because I know there are consequences on the soil fertility and economics. So I'm not mentioning here anymore about the weedicides. But if you want, we have information, and the information is available in several platforms. So you can go with the weedicides. So this is, up to you. Next, please. And coming to the biotic stress, uh, as I told, there are a complex of pests and diseases, starting from nursery stages to harvest in the conventional paddy. It start with the sucking pest. There are a borers. Uh, uh, there are pests infest the seedlings. There are pests infest the grains. uh, so every stage there are a problem, there are a pest, and apart from that there are a diseases infestation. But we found that in DSR, the only three limiting factors biotic stress. That's the one is the if the land is already infested, if there is a nematodes and there is a problem of nematode uh, infestation, you can see in the photograph the roots convert into club. It's called club roots. So this due to the infestation of nematodes, and this nematodes infest the root system. And the another is the rodent is the another major problem. This is another pest, I can say. And these are the two major problems. In addition to that, if you allow the crop to dry it, I mean, if you harvest before it's still green, you will not find any this termite problems. But it's once it's dries up, then there is a there is a problem in the red sides. Uh, the termite infestation is another uh, problem we have. So broadly, compared to conventional paddy, here we have a biotic problems, but it's manageable. So next, please, for managing these nematodes. So the good soil preparation and with farmyard manure, farmyard application with trichoderma is very effective. And we also do seed treatment with trichoderma. It's effective against the nematodes. And if you still have a problem with nematode, and better to avoid the field and go for other crop. But again, if you cultivate solanaceous crop like tomato and brinjal, and the legumes like vegetables, legumes like beans, etc. Again, the infestation will continue. So try to avoid these crops. If uh, if the soils already infested, there's affected by nematodes. So in general, the management practices for under DSR is summer plowing is, I'm repeating again and again because it's very effective, and using the good quality seed, because if you use the infested seeds, there may be possibility of seed there are disease transmit through seeds. So the crop may infest with any diseases. Though the disease infestation less, but there is still possibility. And seed treatment with trichoderma around 4 grams per kg it's recommended. And can use oil cakes like neem cake is very effective. It's still you cannot get good neem cake due to the all the neems plants are affected, but still you can find the good quality of neem cake and use. And uh, these are general practice, like you can also put the bird purchase. If there is any caterpillars, the birds will sit on the perch and pick up and eat away. Keep field moist. The keeping field moist important to know avoid the termite and rodent infestation. So in generally 3 liters of neem oil with 10 kgs of sand mix, and if you broadcast, you can keep away uh, some insect pest and as well as the termite infestation. And for rodent, it's required like community action is required. You have to identify the burrows. It's called active burrows. So for active burrows, when you see the burrow, you can see the if you found the rodent droplets, then it's a indication of live burrows. And then at the community level, all of all of them they take it the action. They have to go for the fumigation, like burn anything and no put in the burrow and close it so that the fumigation, so either they will die or go away from the area, or in a other in addition to that you can go for hunting, and these are the common practices. There are a few commercial fumigation, can say pesticides, rodenticides available, but no, this is since most of them banned, so I'm not recommending there. So the cultural practices like fumigation is more effective, uh, and with the community action is more effective rather than going for the rodenticides. Next, please. So coming to this almost the final slide from my side, the advantages or the irrigated is no significant reduction in the yield. So still I'm not sure, but as per my knowledge and my experience, though there is a reduction, but I can say it's not significant reduction in the yield. So it save a lot of water. Reduction in the labor is because labor is no limiting this thing. Labor availability is the problem. So it requires really very less labor and energy and cost uh, uh, effective, of course. So a low plant risk from the transplanting. So under the transplanted rights, when you pull the seedlings from nursery and transplant to the main field, so there is a stress on the plant, and the establishment rate will be less. So that can be avoided here. Low greenhouse gases emissions. So because it's the collective responsibility, and we all have a concern for that, and less occupational health hazards, because especially women, because in our area they enter into the paddy field wet condition with the barefoot, and they have to really stand for weeding almost 8 to 10 hours, bending position. That way they have a lot of back pains. Apart from that, due to the wet conditions, they also have several skin diseases, food diseases. So that can be avoided. So is I can say DSR is a women friendly method, and scope for establishing custom hiring centers. So now there is a youth, they would like to take up agriculture or allied activity if it's the viable. So uh, there are missions required. The youth can establish their custom hiring centers and run and provide services and earn. So of course, everywhere we cannot say there is consent. Say here we have some consent and challenges. Seed exposed to the pest and birds, and that way, especially birds pick and eat away the seeds. So that is the one consent a farmer have been facing. The weed management is there's another challenge. So there is a scope for develop the scope and the scope for the innovation. And if you use the varieties with more height, and there's a possibility of lodging, and then if you don't sow it properly, so there is a possibility of reduction in the standing crop. So establishment will be the another issue. So we have some issues, but it's manageable, I think. So compared to consents and issues, we have advantages. So without, I think, any second thought, we can promote this direct seeding rights. So with this, I thank you, and it's open for discussion. So I'm happy if anybody have any question. And in addition to that, I have a can connect with farmer and the colleague, the expert from Reddy Foundation. Thank you, Santosh.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for highlighting how to start and what are the practices that needs to be implemented and what are the constraints that we come across, and how to troubleshoot all those things, and how to apply the best practices to get the best out of DSR. Yeah, of course, it's a challenging one to make a transition from conventionally grown, uh, because transition at the farmer level, it has its own implications. It needs to be like, we need to give the hand holding from the technology side to the marketing, the complete full stack support that we need to give. And I'm damn sure this session would be helpful for our future leaders to take this knowledge and to implement at the field level, to help the farmers to make a transition, to make their lives better, and also to reduce the climatic impacts
Four
of
o'clock.
the climatic impacts of the uh, conventional transplanted paddy cultivation. Thank you so much for addressing everything in this DSR. Now, next we have our speaker. We have our guest speaker, uh, who is from who is a deputy manager of climate action, and he is working in Dr. Reddys Foundation. Since he is working in a large scale, that is around 70,000 acres of DSR across Telangana. I would like to know what are the practical challenges and how they are implementing at the farmer level, and we would love to hear some success stories of the DSR. So let's welcome Mr. Prithviram to listen to the success story of 70,000 farmers across Telangana. Hi Prithvi, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Santosh. A small correction, it is 70,000 acres. So what we are planning for this kharif. So as Rashika sir already informed about complete package of practice of DSR, I will not get into again the technical part of it. I'll just go with the learnings and how to go ahead with the side. So even before starting the presentation, I'll pick up few points what Rajshekar sir told regarding the drudgery to the female labor who have been working in the field for transplanting one seed rate and herb weed management in DSR. Apart from that, there are other challenges in order to adopt DSR. So at the large scale, when we try to do as an organization, so we try to understand each and every point of the challenge, starting from the land preparation to the harvesting stage of it. So if you see the challenges, land preparation, what in the conventional practices, usually we see uneven fields where the water lodging happens. That's the reason, one of the for the crop loss. And if you see specifically about the rice cultivation in Telangana or in India, so most of the Indian population is dependent on paddy, and so we tend to cultivate huge amount of paddy in Telangana. After we get a good water resources, we started cultivating double paddy every year. Santosh was mentioning about 5,000 to 6,000 liters of water per kg of rice, which is a tragedy. Probably this is the state which actually saw drought a few years ago, and we are tend to have this again drought here, because as Rajshekar sir was rightly mentioning about the delayed monsoon now, and we are expecting very less duration of rainfall this year. So that is a other challenge to take forward with DSR cultivation as in the current Kharif season also. So now we'll get into the presentation. If you can actually share my presentation.
Yeah. Please.
Yeah. So I'll introduce myself first. I'm Prithvi. I'm working as a deputy manager at Dr. Reddys Foundation. I take care of Telangana state operations. So currently we are operational in Eastwell, Nalgonda, the complete Nalgonda district, and Warangal rural. Okay. Specifically, if you can go back again, Santosh, thanks. So Dr. Reddys Foundation has a different programs, and Action for Climate and Environment is one of the program under the Dr. Reddys Foundation. The current regenerative agriculture and carbon mitigation sequestration program falls under the ACE. It is abbreviated as ACE, Action for Climate and Environment. We work across different spectrums of climate action, starting from regenerative agriculture, agroforestry, coastal ecosystems, solid waste management, and wash of in the rural communities. So with this, we address almost 8 sustainable development goals. Yes. Second. Thanks. So if you specifically see about the greenhouse gas emissions, it's a buzzword all over the world now. So about 24% of greenhouse gas emissions comes from agriculture sector across the world. And if you see 44%, the major contribution comes from the Asian continent, which we are part of because we love rice. We eat so much of rice, so we cultivate rice. And if you see even in that 25% of agriculture contribution to greenhouse gas emission, 10% comes from the paddy cultivation. So the green, if you see specifically the greenhouse gas emissions, the 3 key greenhouse gas emissions are methane, carbon dioxide, and nitrous oxide. So if you see, mostly we talk about carbon dioxide, but if you specifically talk about methane, it is 24%, 28 times more lethal to carbon dioxide. And the nitrous oxide, if you see, it is 265 times more lethal to carbon dioxide. If you specifically want to tell to a general public what is methane and what is nitrous oxide, the kind of an evaporation that's come from the paddy field is methane, nothing but methane. Whenever you walk into a rice field, you find the humidity and you find sweat. So that is methane that is coming from the paddy field. And if you talk about nitrous oxide, it is nothing but the amount of urea that's going into the paddy field. So if you see the trade-off, when we adopt DSR, there is a challenge of increasing nitrous oxide again. So, but the trade-off of 17% or something will help us to retain more methane. So I'll specifically speak about these numbers also. We have been doing some measurements in the field, apart from our scalable programs that are running. So according to the secondary literature, our program, our farmer participated research is still going on. But if you see at the secondary literature, 2,760 kgs per hectare per year is the methane gas carbon equivalent reduction that happens from DSR. And specifically, Rajashekar sir was talking about the water saving that happens from DSR. And with the research that Tamil Nadu Agriculture University did, they gave us a coefficient to calculate the amount of water saving that happens from the dry DSR, wet DSR, and compared to the conventional practices. So if you see, in the conventional practices, it is about 1240 mm of per acre water usage that happens. And when we specifically talk about the dry DSR, it is 950 mm. So that this shows that how climate adaptability can be done using DSR. So less amount of water, where water scarcity is there, if you adopt to DSR, it is a best practice to cultivate rice. Yeah, next slide. Thanks. So specifically, what is DSR? I think the platform is already established what is DSR and what is the advantages and key points. The only challenge here is the weed. So as Rajashekar sir already explained about weed management, everything, I'll not get into that. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is one interesting part which I wanted to specifically mention. If we talk about the water saving in DSR, so there is water saving happening from this method called alternate wetting and drying method, where this pani pipe is installed. If you specifically want to explain to the general public, whenever the plant is in the water, the decomposition of organic matter doesn't happen so much. And the methane gas emissions are released from that submerged paddy field. When we specifically talk about AWD system, there is more aeration, so there is a reduction of methane gas emission because the decomposition happens very less. Because the aeration is there, the water is less, it is not submerged. So that's how we save so much of. Okay, there's someone who raised hand. Shall I take the question now or later after the presentation? Santosh, you're on mute.
Yeah, we'll take it afterwards. Q&A session.
That no problem. So AWD system works well in the DSR for this reason. If we establish DSR along with the laser land leveling and AWD, there's so much of water saving, which specifically says 11,73,000 of liters of water is saved from dry DSR. So that's one specific irrigation method I wanted to specifically talk. And here, last season, I think my slide says the amount of cultivation. Next slide, if you can get into the next slide. Yes. So Dr. Reddys Foundation, the Climate Action Group is working on this DSR technology from 2020. And currently, we are working with the farmers. In last Rabi, we worked with 575 farmers. We reached about 13,000 plus acres in Telangana, only Telangana, because I am representing Telangana, I am presenting Telangana data, but we are operational in other states also. So the amount of water saving happens. Last season, we almost reached 50,000 acres of DSR throughout our programs. This season, Telangana itself is targeting to work with 70,000 acres, and we almost reached 3,000 acres in this last 10 days. Yes. So if I specifically talk about 13,323 acres, I'm specifically talking about 13,323 acres of AWD DSR with combination. Yes. Next slide. Fine. So everyone doubts. So when we are working so much on a big scale, how are we doing it? So we are working with 575 farmers in Telangana. But what is our channel of knowledge transfer? How do we take data? How do we measure? How do we reach to the each and every doorstep of the farmer? Is through this extension model called lead farmer to the fellow farmer. So yes, next slide, please. Yes, thanks. So the program execution strategy is the lead farmer platform. We find 2 lead farmers per village, depending upon the number of farmers registered under the DSR program. So each 30 farmers will have 1 lead farmer. So that's how our platform is maintained. Next slide, please. Thanks. So I have to specifically mention about Mr. Chiranjeevi. He's our superstar Chiranjeevi on the field who did reach 12 fellow farmers in one season and almost helped them to cultivate 81 acres of DSR under one village. So he's one of our lead farmer who did very well. Apart from that, he's also a service provider. So if you specifically talk about DSR, DSR is happening with DSR machine, the Ferticum seed drill. So the service providers for this Ferticum seed drill is very important. The availability of machine is important. Making that machine available to that farmer at that point of sowing is also important. So lead farmers along with our service providers did this good job to reach this 13,000 acres in the last Rabi season. Yeah. Next slide, please. Okay. So if we specifically talk about each component of this lead farmer and platform, lead farmer and fellow farmer, so we specifically choose 1 to 2 volunteer lead farmers who in the villages who are promoted by the local farmers themselves. So they are we don't select the lead farmer depending upon the land holding or how prosper they do in the aspects of wealth or their fame. But specifically, we say the proactiveness to connect the social capital they have with the local farmers. So that is the main point. And apart from that, the good practices. So if we get takes any new technology to the field, there is a large chance of failing the new technology because the farmer doesn't know the practices. He is not tend to listen about the good practices, that the package of practices completely what we try to send through our experts. So lead farmer is the one who actually get trained 5 times in a season. The lead farmer get trains on each and every component of the package of practices, starting from land preparation to the harvesting stage. So lead farmer will be part of that training session. Then again, they go disseminate that knowledge to the local fellow farmers. Yes. Next slide, please. Okay. So these are the actual characteristics of lead farmer, what I was specifically talking about. He or she is known to be a progressive farmer and early adopter of this technology in that hamlet village, or acceptance and credibility in the community, the social capital, what I'm talking about. And we don't pay any form of stipend on monitoring incentives or any product-based incentives to the lead farmers. It is only the hand-holding and training that we do to the lead farmer. Next slide, please. Okay. And what we expect from the lead farmers is demonstrate best practices, what we disseminate to them in the training sessions with their self-investment and leveraging their existing schemes, government schemes, whatever are present in their local villages. Shares this knowledge to the fellow farmers, information about the crops, non-farm package of practices like seed treatment or farm machinery maintenance, all this stuff. Share with the fellow farmers information of better crop planning based on the availability of irrigation resources. If you see DSR suitability, we are recommending groundwater or surface water availability across the critical stages. So 120-day crop, the water availability should be there, because we are talking about the alternate wetting and drying system. It is a drainage system has to be very active. So once the irrigation is done, the drainage should be a continuous drainage should be followed. So water availability should be there. And he or she lead farmer should be available to the community whenever it is required in the critical stages, let it be. And should be proactive in collecting the data and passing the information what we send it through IVF system. Like we tend to send crop advisories on their telephone, through WhatsApp or through SMS. That has to be disseminated to the fellow farmers. Yes. Next slide, please. Okay, done. So this was a recent picture where one of our representative from IRI was visiting our field. So previously I was showing Chiranjeevi, and now it's Chiranjeevi's better half who's actually welcoming the guest. Yes, thanks. I'm done with the presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Prithvi, for sharing the how to structure the leadership, because technicalities is one side, and we need to channelize, we need to take it to the ground, we need to take it to a larger scale. That needs local leaders and the whole ecosystem of leaders at a different level. Then only we can take the things forward. Of course, making a farmer, selecting a leader who can disseminate the technology, who can build the trust of the technology. Because whenever we are taking a technology to the farmer, there is always an entry barrier, because they had because they're not sure whether it's gonna work or gonna uh, take away their livelihood. So that's why building a leadership, building a trust in taking a new technology to the larger scale is more important. And I'm sure you have did a commendable job in building a local network of local evangelists. Thank you for that, and thank you for showing the roadmap how we can structurize in scaling up the DSR. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Santosh.
Yeah. Now the session is open for discussion. You can come up with questions. We have experts who will address your queries. Yep.
Hello.
Yep.
First of all, very good afternoon, sir. It was a very wonderful session. And sir, first of all, I want to know, see, like direct seeded rice is like adaptable to every conditions. And why would a farmer, like especially now I'm studying in Punjab, like the Punjab region has very good water resources. So what is the necessity of Punjab farmer to adopt the direct seeded rice method?
Okay. I'll ask Rajshekar sir to answer this question. Probably I'll get later onto that because even I studied in Punjab. I know the realities of Punjab, how it is.
Rashikar sir, you're on mute.
So several factors. I can't say. I mean, I don't have a ready-made answer. But only thing is the factors like is a irrigated rice is the established and the farmers in the mindset that so we cannot grow the rice without water. In this is one of the important things. And any interventions, any innovations, or any practices, initially it takes time. And once I mean we demonstrate successfully and show the success, and definitely it spreads. So the crisis. You have a crisis with fertilizer use, emissions, and especially Punjab. The stubble burnings. So this is the answer to the several issues we are facing.
Okay, Rupesh, I hope this answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Actually, if Prithvi can answer that question from his experience, because he said he had studied in Punjab and he knows the practicality, he can share his experience also.
Fine. So if we specifically talk about DSR was first adopted in Punjab. Then it was brought to the other states. One. Second thing, if we specifically talk about the water resources of Punjab, it is one of the state which is undergoing the scarcity. So if we talk about water resource, Punjab is known for the 5 rivers, but now they are dependent on the groundwater. So specifically, it's not only direct seeded rice; they have to do zero tillage maize or zero tillage wheat also, if possible. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. And we have another question. That is how practical DSR in terrace geography, where they don't have a sufficient land to run an implement and all this. So how practical it is to adapt in the hilly areas where the terrace farming is being practiced. Yeah, Rashikar sir.
Yeah. So Prithvi, if you have any experience, I have seen in Nepal and the part of the Himachal Pradesh during my visits. So I'll share my experiences. So practically in the hilly region, you cannot take any implement because the only thing is if you want to take, you have to carry the implement. And you cannot also dig a bore, or there is no source of water. Only rainfall. Whatever the rainfall you get, you have to store somewhere and use it. So absolutely there is no other options except the DSR. So either you look at the Himachal Pradesh situation, or you Nepal and this all regions, the hilly regions. So they have been practicing the DSR for several years, and they have been continuing.
Yep. Prithvi, do you have any views?
Yes. So DSR specifically is a seed sowing method. What we do in the slope, as Rajshekar sir rightly mentioned, heavy machinery transportation to these slopes might be difficult, but handheld equipment. Previously, Rajshekar sir was showing the dibbler. So probably that is one of the good equipment where we can use. Apart from that, there is different technologies that are available to adopt DSR. If no equipment is available, they can at least go for broadcasting in that areas rather than spending so much of water. And if we specifically talk about water saving again in such kind of slopes, as Rajshekar sir was previously talking about, drip irrigation would be one of the best irrigation methods. 90% water saving would be there in this DSR paddy cultivation with drip. Apart from that, it would lead to a better yield, best yield. So there is a research saying that the more water shortage is given to this paddy crop in the initial stages, the longer the root grows. The longer root grows, the more tillering it happens. The more tillering it happens, the more panicle it comes. So that's how it is.
the irrigation management, it will have a long lasting impact on the root growth development, because if you compare, it gives a much more better root growth, much more better sturdy to drought tolerant. So that's the impact of DSR. And in the northeast region and Nepal Himalayas, if the farmer want to learn, where they can go and learn, if any institutions, if any organizations, those who are training farmers on DSR, yeah, can you throw some light on that, especially in the northeastern part, where they can learn?
I think, Santosh, it's an old age practice. So in the hilly regions, and even if you look at the hilly, the tribal areas in part of the Telangana, Adlabad districts and others, so they have been practicing, and I think only the scope is, there is some scope to improvise the practices, so where scientists can go learn from them and give some suggestions. So what I heard from IRRI is, IRRI, apart from India, they also working in Bangladesh and Nepal. So Nepal is most of the area known as the hilly area, and they have been promoting this. So I think IRRI is supporting, and local agriculture universities also in Nepal. So they are very particular about the promoting the DSR.
Thank you, sir. When it comes to choosing varieties, what are the varieties they are suitable? Are the same varieties they were using for normal cultivation, that is transplanted cultivation, let's take BPT or NDLR7? Can they use the same varieties DSR, or any specific varieties that are available for DSR, suitable for DSR condition?
Yeah, again, so when I interact with the scientists about the varieties bred for DSR, so they said so far, so they have not identified any varieties really doing perform well under the DSR, but we tested some varieties, and we also will trying testing this season based on our findings. Probably the Prithvi, they have been doing in large areas, they may have some experience, but in our experience so far, we have not find any varieties which are doing good under DSR or not doing well, but we have to wait for some time. But only thing is, Uday was also mentioning the varieties susceptible for lodging, like most of the traditional varieties, they grow taller. I think we have to avoid these varieties.
Yeah, the duration and the growth habit is one of the considerations.
Growth habit is, but duration wise, I think we have a short duration, medium and long duration, starting on 120 to 160 days. So all the varieties are suitable. In fact, we can reduce the nursery stage, and here in the DSR you can go directly seedling. So that way also we are, saving some time.
Yep. Thank you, sir. And Prithvi, I have a question where the soil, because the response of the soil plays a crucial role in choosing a method of cultivation. So what kind of soils we need to choose, especially in DSR? Or can you highlight what might be the better soil which is suitable for DSR?
Okay.
And their performance.
In regards of DSR, specifically well-drained soils, and there is case studies from Nalgonda, the Tripuraram Mandal of Miryalguda region. So there is one farmer who cultivated DSR in saline soils. So it is so saline that even the labor can't do any kind of transplanting there. So he usually does the broadcasting. But later in the span of 1.5 years, now it's easily he can do this normal DSR practice with the machinery that is happening. So this happens because the over salinity itself is from over irrigation. So that's one. That problem is being addressed. Second thing, puddling. So puddling is one process we request farmers to avoid in any case. Even if he wants to go for broadcasting, so we request him not to do puddling. So that changes the soil structure and increases soil salinity, and this happens. So if puddling can be avoided, and soil health will be increasing. Apart from other components like Rajshekar sir was telling, the composting of soil, apart from biochar introduction into the soil, will help in reclamation of the soil health again.
Yeah, thank you, Prithvi. We have some other questions related to practicalities and what is the yield increment and how practical at the field level. Yeah, of course, we addressed in the presentation, but still would like to give some different view on this, like yield and profitability, how profitable it is. If you can add some numbers, that would be really great.
So again, depending upon the package of practice that is recommended and how farmer adopt it, so we did not see any difference as of now on the field. But there are cases where the yield has gone little lower, like 10% to 15%. But farmer is okay to trade off with the amount of labor labor charges. So that's why he is okay with 10%, 15% of yield losses also in some cases. But interestingly, last Rabi season, last Rabi season, there was a farmer who was trying to do this dry DSR, but there was an unperiodical rainfall, and he directly shifted to wet DSR without doing any puddling. And there is a yield hike of 4 bags. So usually he gets 40 bags. Now he got 44 bags. So that was an observation what we saw. And we tried the same thing with the farmers now. So we did some crop cutting experiments. The results are strengthening enough with the previous results. And we are trying to do these yield estimates across all 575 farmers now and see what is a yield drop or hike. But mostly we saw there is no so much of yield drop in this DSR adoption.
Yeah. Okay, Prithvi, thank you. And we have another participant, that is Sham Singh. We have another question. He wished to know suitable varieties for Bihar region. So if you have any experience, so please suggest.
Rajshekar sir.
Yeah, so frankly speaking, I don't have any, information Bihar situation, but only thing is, as I mentioned earlier, and based on my experience interaction with scientists from IRRI and some other friends working with the IRRI, they told that so far they have not identified, they have not developed breeders have not developed any varieties suitable for DSR. So, and this is agronomical innovations to address the energy, water, and labor. So that's what. But the variety suitable for under irrigated condition can be can be cultivated for under DSR too. So still lot of work is going on probably, but end of the season, I think Reddys Foundation and CS together will focus on that the varietal preference, which varieties doing good compared to no other under DSR. So there is a research component definitely by end of this Kharif season. So we'll get some information.
So I just wanted to add one small thing. So the major challenge here in DSR is identified as weed problem. So there are a few researchers by different corporate companies that is being done how to develop a weedicide resistant varieties now in this DSR. So we have one trial going on in our area also with one of our partners. It is developed by Savannah Seeds. They developed a variety where the rice variety is resistant to weedicide, so that it kills all the other weeds in the field except the paddy plant. So that trial is still going on. We are doing it on a small scale trial across, but Bihar also has the same trial, what I believe from the partner. But as of now, my interaction with IRI, they recommend mostly inbreds or any hybrids that are available in the market to go with DSR.
Okay. Yeah, the performance would be almost similar, but we can, at any condition, we can go for existing variety, we can go for existing variety. With the proper management practices, we can get the similar yield. Of course, we can reduce labor for transplanting and all other activities. We can reduce the drudgery. That's the major reduction here. In addition to climate and all these things, because at the farmer level, they just want two things: one, ease of doing, and increasing their income, reducing the cost. So if we convey, and this technique is convincing, addressing all the three: reducing the drudgery, increasing the profitability, and of course reduce the cost of cultivation. Yeah, one thing in DSR, is there a scope to integrate irrigation advisory with the sensors, where they can predict the soil moisture and they can advise when to irrigate, how much to irrigate, so that they can also save extra irrigation water? So is there a scope in DSR, if you have come across with this kind of practices at your farm?
Yes, I think AWD pipe is the one of the low cost sensor.
Okay.
So yeah, that cost around 90 rupees per acre. So we install one AWD pipe. It's called pani pipe in the local language per acre. Or if it's a plot size is less, then we recommend one pipe per plot. So that is a low cost sensor what farmer can install as of the current situation. But there are better technologies that are available also. So sensor-based automated irrigation systems are available when in the large scale, whenever the farmer is doing in the large scale.
Okay. It saves a lot of irrigation, and also they can maintain the soil at a field capacity without adding excess water, without keeping the soil for dry, so that it will improve the crop growth and also ultimately the yield. So that's economical.
Specifically, if I have to I'll explain about the pani pipe, how it looks. It's a normal PVC pipe of 30 centimeters, and 50 centimeters of the pipe, the beneath is being drilled with holes, depending upon the structure of soil. So if the soil structure is too clayey or loamy, the size of the hole is small. So if it is it is granular and good, so the size of the hole goes little larger. It's about like 2 mm, 2.5 mm. So this 15 centimeters pipe, which is doubled with the holes, is installed into the paddy field, and so you can see 15 centimeters beneath the soil also. So that's how the farmer decides with his observations directly. So every day whenever he attends his field, he looks into this pani pipe and see how much water is available beneath the soil, and then according to that he decides. Except in the critical stages, this AW system can be followed. This 15 centimeters water depth can be maintained.
Okay, so it's more affordable, and they can easily quantify. They can easily go for qualitative test of the water content, moisture content in the soil. So this one is affordable, and they can easily adapt the technology. Yeah, thank you so much. Apart from this nematode management, how exactly are you using managing at the field level? Are you using some nematicides, especially bionematicides? There are products available, so can we use those? And how is the experience at the level?
So if Rajasekhar sir can answer that.
Santosh, actually, this is nematode infestations has been reported in several areas, but it's all again dependent on the soil to soil. So far, if your farmer had grown some solanaceous crops and some legumes, they are, I mean, susceptible to the nematode infestations. If the nematode is present in the soil, and after the soil, if you go for the DSR, and the nematode can also infest the paddy roots. So if there is no nematodes in the soils, and really need not to worry. But compared to irrigated conditions, the infestation, there is a possible to get infestation to these nematodes. And as per our experience, no, there are synthetic nematicides available in the market, but the best management is the cultural practices. There's a crop rotation, proper soil preparation, and the farmyard manure application with trichoderma is one of the best practices. And so another practices, like in some area, in the crops like solanaceous, brinjal, tomato, they cultivate crop like marigold. So marigold also one of the trap crops, can use to manage the nematodes.
Yeah. In the scalability, what we are trying to do, we are still on the trial stages, but recently we started using this trichoderma as a seed treatment and see, because it is anticipated that at some stage nematode would be a potential problem in DSR. So we are trying to understand the problem and find out the solutions as of now. And apart from that, as Rajshekar sir was telling about the crop rotation, because Telangana specifically it is double paddy system between two paddy systems, because we have the leverage of time in DSR. We are trying to get one green manuring crop between both the paddies. So that's what we are trying to that's how we are trying to tackle this nematode problem and nitrogen fixation in the soils.
To break the cycle.
Yeah.
Okay, Priti. So we can go for the precautionary measures from the starting, like in the initial years, because it might build up in later part, maybe 2 years or 3 years. But if we can keep the nematode population under check, so it won't reach the damaging level.
ETL level, economic level.
Exactly. Here, Prithvi, in addition, from the entrepreneurship point of view, we wish to know what are the ecological services that we can integrate with the DSR, because anyway we will be saving water, and also we are not we are limiting the methane emission and nitrous oxide emission. So are there any ecological services like carbon trading, other things? Can we include adapting DSR, or we are saving water? Can we make a business out of that? Can a farmer get a benefit out of that?
Okay. If you specifically talk about the carbon trading, it's a very big subject altogether. But why carbon trading is being done in agriculture? Because it's affordable and cost effective. In paddy cultivation, now if we talk about, it's called carbon farming. So that's how. It doesn't mean that we are farming carbon, but we are reducing the carbon. Yeah, there is sequestration, that decarbonization that is happening. Rather than saying that carbon sequestration, decarbonization practices is being done. So with this, it's a good, it would be an incentive to the farmer if he can get into this. But I think there is a huge knowledge gap on this carbon trading, carbon market, all this stuff. It will take some time. I think recently there is one policy from the union government on this carbon trading and carbon emission stuff. Probably it will take some time to standardize this, because data plays a very important role if we specifically talk about trading these carbon. So how you collect the data, how you evaluate, how you monitor the data at each every step on the large scale is one of the challenge. And probably AI and blockchain will answer these questions in the long term.
Exactly. So anyway, we are limiting the methane emission and also nitrous oxide emission. So we can convert that into some incentivizing the farmers, because at the end of the day, incentivizing the farmer will be a great driver to adapt the technology. Of course, at the second one, the knowledge gap. If you address these two, incentivizing and bridging the knowledge gap, farmer easily would like to take the new technology rather than being suspicious what's going to happen. So if they see added benefits, for sure they will take this. take the technology forward. Yeah, thank you. And in addition, we are saving water here. Can we quantify that in converting into, because water is having a carbon footprint. So can we indirectly convert it into carbon points? Is that possible in DSR?
Yes. So the amount of water that is being saved here, it can be calculated in the form of carbon equivalents. So there is a calculation that can be done. Yeah, that is possible.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds interesting. And thank you so much. In the group, in the chat box, we have shared some links. Our colleague Vinyasa, she shared some links where they can find more information about SRI method related to Tripura and Northeast states, and they can find from other websites. She has shared 2-3 websites where they can find some reports, case studies, and in addition, we have your email ID. Maybe you all can drop your email ID in the chat box. We will be sharing all the resources that we have with our end on package of practices, suitability, and connecting to in institutions where they can learn from. Because this one session might not be enough to understand the holistically. So they can reach out to us at any time. We will share all the contacts. They can reach out to us. They can come and learn. Of course, in KSA, we will be organizing so much like residential programs and everything, DSR and other ecological method of agricultural practices where they can come, learn, and work in collaboratively with us. We welcome everyone to work collaboratively, learn collaboratively, and make the world better for living. So today we have 2 speakers, and I forgot to mention our translator who is working in the back end, Mr. Uday. He is converting into English session into Telugu translation. He is translating into Telugu. Yeah, thank you everyone. Today we had a speaker who
Yeah,
gave
Santosh,
us
before closing, one thing is like IRI is hosting one consortium, DSR consortium. And you can find the details on the website, IRI website, the DSR consortium. Probably we all should be part of the consortium so that we can learn from them and we also share our experiences. So I sent a request to the coordinator. Probably I'll get the positive response. And yeah, so just now I called the farmer, DSR farmer, Mr. Rajas, so he's unable to join due to the connectivity issue.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before closing, I just wanted to add one point regarding these nutrition in DSR varieties. What is the learning from the field? Apart from that, in DSR, we see iron deficiency is one which crop undergoes. So along with the other basal doses, we also recommend ferrous sulfate in the as a basal dose. So that is one of the important adoption that has to be done by the farm.
Okay. Iron deficiency is one of the major constraints in the DSR. In addition, phosphorus we need to manage from the beginning itself, because if the ecosystem changes, the nutrition cycle, nutrient dynamics will get altered. So it's good to follow a package of practices to avoid the nutritional deficiency, because once the nutritional deficiency once the nutritional plant show nutritional deficiency symptom, it has already reduced its yield potential. So it's good to go ahead with the better package of practices to without compromising yield, without compromising our economy, our farmer economy. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Prithvi, for mentioning this point, because I also had a feedback from farmers. So they are using, they're doing some micronutrient spraying. So they found this problem. So it's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Rajshekar sir, for giving the complete detail, the full solution, full stack solution of DSR. And thank you, Prithvi, for joining at the end and give the complete detail of how to structurize the transfer of technology, how to build a leader, how to organize the technology to take to take it to the next level. And thank you, Uday, for giving a translation in Telugu. And thank you, Vinyasa, for making this whole webinar possible by starting from creating posters and taking more and more registrations and making it possible. Thank you so much. And last but not the least, audience, without you, this would not have been, we could not have hosted this session. Thank you so much for engaging throughout the session, for sharing for coming up with your question, because those questions will give a different direction, will give a different perspective, will come up with a different solution. So that will add a lot of value to the session. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Yeah, with that, we will be sharing all the details. Hello.
Uday, saying something? Uday, it's not audible.
Okay. Okay. Let's. We will share all the details. We will share all the materials. You can go through, and we will be forwarding our contacts too. You can come and you can learn. We are open to share our experiences. We are open to share our knowledge. So thank you so much, and have a happy and great weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Santosh. Thank you all. Thank you, Prithvi. I mean, we really look forward to work with Reddys Foundations. We'll have it.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Sure, sir. Thanks. Thanks, Uday and team for inviting this. And probably we'll look forward to more sessions like this. And I'll also try to put my field team who are more experienced, will answer every question in each also.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Yeah, have a happy weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.